White folks especially hate autonomous black happiness. They do not like when we are by ourselves doing our own shit. They cannot stand that. They don't even.
We need to bring back the morals, the scruples, the etiquette, and togetherness of the cowboys of yesteryear. That was a way of life that was mighty good for all of us. And I'd like to see it for all the kids coming up. I just pull no punches, y'all. I enjoyed life. I felt like the good Lord put me on earth to do two things, and that's help people out and make people happy.
Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. Chad Jackson has a channel, and on that channel he does a live every Sunday. It's called Cutting Through the Culture. We have mentioned that several times before on our channel. It's a really good show. Anyways, on that show is 4 people. One of them is a person named Blanchard Robinson, and he has his own YouTube channel. I will link that below. And he did this video. You know, as comedian Godfree, which is pretty funny. Godfree's very funny, but we're not here to talk about. It's not funny here. Yeah, we're not here to talk about how funny he is. We want to talk about this clip he did with Vlad, and Blanchard talks about this, and it's very interesting when you see black people really push the oppression. Anyways, we're gonna watch this. It's like a 6-minute clip. I want you guys to see this and see what you guys think. All right.
This. Why don't we just give us what you owe us and we can go on and do our own? But no, they don't want that. White folks especially hate autonomous black happiness. They do not like when we are by ourselves doing our own shit. They cannot stand that. They don't even like us in a group. Like in Chicago, there used to be a thing, if you were 5 or more black guys on the corner, the police break it up. It's called mob action. It's like, what's going on here? If you're at work and you're a black employee and you're talking to another black employee, the white boss goes, hey, what's going on over there? You know what I mean? I went to a very white university, and then when the black students hung out with each other, the white students would be like, oh, you guys hang out, you don't mix with us. I go, are you kidding me right now, you delusional clown? It's 45,000 white students and 800 black. Who the you think I'm gonna hang out with? They would do shit like this.
Now, as many people, now just imagine in Chicago, 5 or more men, young men on the corner is what? It's a gang. Now, we're talking about these police telling these young men to break it up because they are selling dope, committing crimes, and eventually killing somebody. Listen again. Spirit of oppression. As much death, destruction, and damnation that happens on the south side of Chicago, and you're talking about the police doing something to prevent crime, and you got a problem with it. So you know that Godfrey is a tool of Satan. He is a tool used by Satan.
What is this? I do. He's a tool of Satan, but you know what? All jokes aside, it's true. It's true though. Why is he saying? Could you imagine the people in Chicago that are the law-abiding citizens that happen to be in a neighborhood that they don't want to be in, but they have to because of financial situations, so they're in this bad neighborhood, and they're just loving the police breaking up with these guys at the corner stores. So they just love it. They're like, okay, it's not going to be any problems today. And then you have a Godfrey comes in there and is like, break it. I don't like when police are breaking this up. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's like he's talking about some suburb in Atlanta. He's talking about the south side of Chicago. You know what I mean? And
God, it's so funny.
Godfrey, he's pandering. I hate that.
Oh God, it's so bad.
Especially, you know, it's just like
it's so bad.
And then the language he uses, calling white people because they want to get to be his friend. Well, we want to intermingle with you guys because you're in a, you know, and he's all angry with them because they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
That's so odd. Yeah. It's just like you get mad at white people and say that they don't understand you and they don't you know, they don't get our walk and everything. And then when they want to talk to you and be your friend, then you tell them to get away.
Right.
Because this is a black thing.
And it's so funny. People always say that we're caping for white people, right? People say that sometimes. Oh, you guys are just caping for white people. I'm like, no, we're standing up for what's wrong. This is wrong. This is is wrong.
There is an anti-whiteism thing happening.
It's happening.
Where anytime white people have an opinion, do anything, it's just like they just get crucified.
It's
and then
undeniable.
a black man like him can say really just the most racist thing.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then everyone just claps and goes, "Yep, you're right, you're right." Mm-hmm.
What?
It's just crazy.
I guarantee Godfrey does not believe in God. Most of these liberal Democrat black people do not believe in God. If you talk to them long enough, you'll find out they don't believe in God. We go through the 5 spirits of blackness again. Number 1, spirit of pride. Number 2, spirit of entitlement. Number 3, spirit of oppression. Number 4, spirit of envy and jealousy. Number 5, spirit of offense. Again, Godfrey is talking about the police using preventative measures in Chicago. Right. As many murders that happen in Chicago, as many drugs that are sold, as many families that are destroyed in Chicago, south side of Chicago, he's upset with the police, not for arresting people, not for police brutality, but telling these gang members to break it up. 5 or more on the corner is a gang, no matter how you want to slice it. Now, instead of him saying, well, the police are doing a good job by using preventative measures, he's using that as to say that white people don't like for black folks to be autonomous. Show me where black folks are autonomous and it's good. Show me where black people are left to their own devices and it's good. Just show it to me. I'm not talking about black people in white environments or white structured environments. I'm talking about black people in their own environment and it's being held accountable to black people. Show me where it's good. Show me. You can't. You go to any inner city where black people are the majority in an area and it's run down. Atlanta has exceptions with black suburbs and the DMV area with some suburbs. After that, they're pretty much all the same. Run down.
I had a conversation with somebody at the hotel I work at, and I played this part of the clip to this person. I was like, "Is he wrong?" It's a black woman. I was talking to, but is he wrong? And she was just like, "There are black neighborhoods, where it's, like, not violent, not whatever. There are black neighborhoods like that. I was like, where?" I will give her this. That I don't know every black neighborhood in the world. In the United States of America. I'll give you that. But I'm just saying.
I mean, it's genuinely where there are when it's kind of an interracially diverse neighborhood.
Yeah.
If there are black people there, but there are also white people there, or then it's usually a normal
setting. Yeah.
But he's talking about most major inner cities that are run by black people, run by black Democrats mostly. And the neighborhoods are safe.
Like, think about it.
And not run down.
Really think about that, though, because I think black people will hear this, and they're going to, well, of course they will, especially the liberal ones. They're going to hear this and go, "Oh my God, you're just against your own people," right? Like, no, I'm saying, really think about that. Look at the inner cities, and where they are run by black mayor, black, police chief.
Baltimore.
Like, just think about that. And when I first heard him say this, I thought, God, I was really trying to stretch my brain to think, what part,
besides Atlanta, everybody
count.
runs to Atlanta, like it's like I don't even want to ever go there. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I hate that also, that there's like one place where we're allowed to be normal.
That shows you though.
Like there's like one place. I've always hated that.
Right.
You go to Atlanta. It was like, but why is it just one place?
Why?
That was really odd to me.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, besides Atlanta, leave Atlanta out because that's an exception. Mm-hmm. Besides Atlanta, and the whole neighborhood is black, where it's not crime riddled.
Think about that.
And drug infested, and welfare run, and single mamas everywhere, and single baby mamas everywhere, men, as that guy said on Uncle Tom, young, middle-aged, and old, just sitting on the neighborhood, not going to work or anything like that.
I mean,
and the only reason I'm bringing it up, and the only reason he would bring it up is because Godfrey is acting as though all black neighborhoods are well run.
Oh yeah,
and then they'll go, well, what about the white neighborhoods? Well, white people don't complain like we do.
Yeah, they don't.
See, the problem is when you complain, then people put a microscope over you.
Yeah.
When you don't complain, like they get shot by the police more than we do, but they don't talk about it. They complain because they assume that was a criminal.
Right.
White people assume that white people who get killed are usually a criminal, and they don't stand on the street. White lives matter.
Yeah,
they don't do that. We do that.
Yeah, they don't. Right. They don't start a movement. They don't start taking donations for this movement.
They don't paint the whole city.
Yeah, or themselves. They don't do all that.
WLM. You know what I mean? They don't do that. So when you do that, though, it's sort of like the anti-Semitic thing. Now that you've done that, now everybody's going to take a closer look at how you contribute to the problem. You know what I mean? And so this is why a lot of people go, oh, well, how come you don't talk about white people? Well, because white people aren't complaining. We are. Yeah. So if we're complaining, that means we want to be heard. So now let's really dive deep.
Yeah, let's dive deep.
But then when we find out the problem, then you don't want to dive deep anymore. You just want to stay on the complaint train. You know what I mean?
If you would stop complaining so damn much.
And we would. If people who have big platforms like Godfrey would stop pretending, because I'm sure he doesn't live in a black neighborhood, would stop pretending like they are oppressed.
Atlanta has exceptions with black suburbs and the DMV area with some suburbs. After that, they're pretty much all the same. Run down. And this was proven when they have a term called white flight. Black folks admit that when white people leave, their community suffers. It goes down the drain. But according to Godfrey's logic, when white people leave, the community should turn into Wakanda. Why is that when white folks left, it wasn't a bunch of Wakandas all around the country? When white people left, why wasn't it a whole bunch of Wakandas all around the country? Why is when white people left, your communities went down the toilet? Oh, maybe it's because of your culture.
Anytime they see us get together in any kind of way, we could be at a cafe and black people could just be drinking coffee, laughing. All of a sudden, white people are like, oh boy, that Negro so loud. Excuse me, can we turn down this Negro sound? It's like up. Like
that's never happened though. Nobody white has ever bothered anybody black drinking coffee, minding their business. This man said black people are sitting down, drinking coffee, laughing, and white people tell them it never happened. I've looked this way I look now for my whole life, and I've never had this stuff happen to me. I've never been in public settings and white people harass me. It never happens. He just ran down the script. Yeah. He told a whole bunch of stories that never happened. And what you'll find is that most black people's experiences come through entertainment or someone telling a story. Most black folks don't experience this. I guarantee if we took a field trip with Godfrey right now, he would never experience this.
He said so. Blanchard's absolutely correct on that. And I'm so glad he mentioned the fact that he was a darker skinned black man. He's just like, I've looked like this my whole life. Because if I say it, everybody's gonna say, oh, it's because you're so light skinned and your light skin gives you privilege. You know what I mean? But here Larry Elder would say the same thing. Candace Owens would say the same thing. You know what I mean? It isn't that. It's never happened. You are living in delusion. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of black people will videotape their experiences out, and they'll videotape some white person telling them to keep it quiet. It's because they're being loud. Yeah. And the idiot part is that they actually videotape themselves while they're being obnoxious. And then they get shocked and they dare someone to turn around and say, be quiet. And then when some white lady does, it's usually a white woman, but white lady does, they go ballistic. Like all of a sudden,
Karen,
they're like, you Karen, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, yeah, but you are being rude.
Remember the Mark Curry video we did? We did a video about famous black guy. We did a video of Mark Curry. I'll link it above if you guys haven't seen that video, where Mark Curry is in a hotel and he's lounging around. First of all, he's like slouching in the chair, and one of the workers says to him, are you staying in the hotel? And Mark is he's he's immediately offended by all of this, right? Well, the white worker, there's a black worker as well, talking to him, and Mark calls him Uncle Tom, calls the black guy. And then the black worker, young man, says, look, he's trying to pull the race card. He's trying to pull a race card. And this is what happens. Happens every time. Every single time something goes down, it's always got to be the race card.
Now,
it's
I believe Mark
amazing.
was offended because they didn't notice him.
Yeah, they know
and they
who
didn't
he
ask for
was.
an autograph.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they asked for him to leave.
But it's really fun. It's really funny because it's like, you guys, look, you know, and again, I work in a hotel, and I ask people that are just lounging around, not doing anything, I haven't seen you yet. I'll ask.
Yeah.
You know, are you staying in the hotel, because I need to know this information. I ask white people, I ask everybody.
Women, men.
I don't like anybody loitering around in the hotel. I don't like that. So I do ask that question. I gotta tell you that I've worked in a hotel for a very long time. I've never had anybody get mad at me for asking that question. As a matter of fact, most people are happy that I care about the surroundings of the hotel and the environment to make sure it's safe. So it's really interesting how black people get immediately offended by these things. What's his name? Godfrey has never been in a situation where he has been in a coffee shop and that happened. Karen and I go and have coffee. I know we're women and all kinds of that, but Karen and I go to have coffee, you know, several times and many times in our lives. And we have
the only black people.
Yeah, and we have been in situations where we have been the only black people, and there's been no issues at all. I've
never had anybody. They usually if anyone ever comes up to us, it's usually to ask if we're sisters.
Yeah.
Or they want to have a nice little conversation.
Yeah,
they never
they
tell
don't.
us to be quiet, or they're rude, or tell us to leave. I've never in my life had that.
And also, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So look, and listen to me, because people, here we go. I already can see the people typing right now. No one said it never has happened. But what I'm saying is what he is saying, and what he is speculating and saying, is that it happens all the time. This is not a random. This is not just like a rare thing that happens to black people. No. This happens all the time where some white person gets upset at it. No, I do not believe that to be true. I don't believe that to be true. I think that he is just doing this thing where they all do, where they're pandering to black people. So to let black people know, I'm on your team.
What did Vodi Bakum say? You ought to be happy you're not in Africa, because he lives in Africa, because he is at college that he's dean of.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, African Americans have no idea what people in Africa deal with. He was just like, if you don't pay your ticket right away on the street when you get pulled over, you get a beat down in front of everybody. And if you videotape it, they beat you down.
You see?
He said, America is the safest place in the world for a black person to be. Besides Europe, it's the safest place in the world for a chance for you to be the most successful is in America. He said nobody wants to come and live in Africa.
Yeah.
Africans are trying to get to America.
Seeing a man be a victim, it's something about it automatically makes me feel like you lose some man points there, because you're crying and whining about stuff, and he's privileged.
Yeah.
Right? He's privileged. So a lot of the stuff he's saying, I know he hasn't even experienced. There's no way he experiences stuff.
That's what I like when Jesse Lee Peterson, feel how you feel about Jesse Lee Peterson. I don't always agree with him either.
Yeah, right.
But when he does say, he tells a lot of men, specifically, the black men that come on the show, the first thing he does complain about racism, and he crushes them. But then he always says, men don't complain, they overcome.
Oh, yeah, he does say that.
He says that all the time, and I think that is how we see men.
Yeah.
Is that they're supposed to overcome, they're supposed to have the answers, they're supposed to fix things. And so when we see men just openly complaining, you don't have to, especially men who happen to be successful at what they do, it does feel like, what else are you looking for? You're successful. You own your own home. You own your craft. You know what I mean? What is specifically is happening in your life that is making you not like white people? You're sitting on Vlad. He's white.
Yeah. Crazy.
You think that if this were like a white person, they would be able to just go on a black show?
No.
And be able to spew about how unfair the world is to white people? That just would not happen.
No, canceled. Completely. We completely canceled.
And so I just respect men, and this is the reason why. And by the way, most of the conservative men the conservative people I follow are men, black men. They're black men. You know what I mean? And they have a different point of view that just seems so much stronger and so much more coherent.
Yes.
You know, they don't
balanced.
And balanced
Yeah.
and logical. You know, when you go into any kind of liberal page or left page and you see some man talking, they're always talking about everything they don't have and wish they could have had and everybody that their ancestors didn't get.
I don't understand where all this alleged racist situations are happening. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. Like, there has been black people have talked so much about racism and how it's happening on really a daily basis. We've had people in our comments say, oh no, it happens all the time, every day. It's happened to me every day. Real racist situations are so rare today. They are so rare today. It's like we're making a situation will happen and we make it racist. The narrative becomes that it's racist.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that boat. Remember that fight?
Yeah, the boat, the melee?
Yeah.
They call it the melee.
That big boat fight that happened a long time ago, right? Like, okay, these guys jumped this guy. That's how I saw it. And that's wrong. And they were cowards, right? This group of men were cowards. Now, but on the news, what they'll say is 5 white guys jumped a black guy.
Right.
So it's like we make things into a racist situation.
But we know that if it were 5 white guys who jumped a white guy, it wouldn't make the news.
Right.
If it was 5 black guys that jumped a white guy, it wouldn't make the news.
No.
It only makes the news when it's 5 white guys that jump a black guy.
So this is how we get people like Godfrey, though, spewing this. Is that when we continuously talk about these things in a way that are just simply not true, it gives people like him access to, you know, to just talk like nonsense.
Yeah.
So now it's to the point now where I get so happy when I see a man talk like a man.
Yeah, I was watching. He put up a video like 2 days after this video, and he was talking about. He was just talking about this situation, subject about masculinity and all of those things, and then at the very end of the live, he put up this guy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play this clip for you because this is what it should be.
Yeah. Now listen, this is a man. Listen.
We need to bring back the morals, the scruples, the etiquette, and togetherness of the cowboys of yesteryear. That was a way of life that was mighty good for all of us. And I'd like to see it for all the kids coming up. I just pull no punches, y'all. I enjoyed life. I felt like the good Lord put me on earth to do 2 things, and that's help people out and make people happy. And I can do them both right out there in that arena.
He said, I feel like the good Lord put me on this earth to do 2 things. Help people out and make people happy. It sounds like purpose to me. And I guarantee this man ain't got no excuses because he has purpose. You see, it's hard to have an excuse when you got purpose because you focus on your purpose and not the excuse. And your faith doesn't make failure an option. You see, when you have faith, that means that failure is not an option anymore because you got faith. And the faith overrides what? The failure.
That was beautiful to me because first of all, that man seemed so simple. You know what I mean? In the best way possible.
And I told you, I like simple. I like simple. I like simplicity. You know, but he's right. I mean, and that's for everybody when you talk about your faith. You know, your faith is supposed to. You don't need an excuse. Yeah. Because you are free in that. Yeah. You know, and so when I hear people talk like that, these are people who do live in their purpose. They don't make excuses. They're not trying to make enemies of people. They're not trying to make careers off of their. And this man obviously is from the South. Yeah, he's an older man, so he's definitely seen, I guess, those racism years. He's probably been in them. You know what I mean? And so for him to be able to say that, and we got men who are 20 years old who can't say that now. That really goes to show you, like, how we've made victims and how we've weakened.
Well, yeah, and I often wonder men like him because I've had I work with people, right? I work with the public, and I have such great conversations with people. I have the opportunity to talk to all kinds of people, and whenever I get the opportunity to talk to an older person, I just listen because they're gonna give you all kinds of gems. Right? And I had this conversation with this older man not too long ago, and he said, the state of men today is sincerely frightening to me. And women, but he was talking about men specifically because he's one. But he was like, it's almost as if they're like, a lot of them are very lazy. They're filled with excuses and they have no purpose. He said those three things, and I thought, wow, really? I mean, like, I agree, but I was like, wow. He's like, and it's shocking to, he says, shocking to me, but it's even a bigger shock to our country. In the long run, it'll be a bigger shock to the country. And I completely agree with that. I'm like, what? Yes. Can you imagine this man complaining like Godfrey? Just imagine that guy we just watched talking like Godfrey. It's insane. I would not even. We
weaken men, and we look what we've done with women.
Oh God,
women are worse in a lot of ways, but I don't even know what's worse. You know what I mean? It's just like to have these overly, ambitiously obnoxious women, walking around calling themselves queens and boss bitch and all these words that they try to use to make themselves elevated, and still they still complain about the wage gap. And if you have this much power, then why do you care? That sort of thing. And then on the other turn, you have men who have completely let go of masculinity.
Right.
And
but while still saying you're a king.
While still saying you're right. You know what I mean? It's just like you can't be both. You got to be one or the other. Right. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. It just, whenever I see, I don't get lost in a lot of things. I don't get lost in labels like red pill or feminism or anything like that, because I think a lot of times, I think both of the areas could feel well-meaning. Yeah. They would feel, oh, we just did this because we wanted women to have more rights. Oh, we're doing this because women are annoying, and they're becoming annoying, and it's just like, and then what it always does is make people clash against each other, right? And it just makes me like really sad. The military, not too long ago, they were saying that the military has under recruited. I mean, they don't have as many recruits. I think they're like 25% under. As far as new recruits, and then the ones that are there are all out of shape. The men that are there are all out of shape, and they don't take well to drill sergeants because they've all been so comfortable. Yeah. And they haven't had a lot of, because of all the technology, so many men have become so dependent on technology that they don't have a lot of toughness anymore. If you think back in like the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, we didn't have all this technology. And so men had to work a lot harder, and they had a lot more on their shoulders. Even if you look at like the Vietnam War or World War II, you'll see that a lot of those men were a lot tougher, because a lot of those men, even if they were 18, they had wives and kids. They had something to die for. These guys are going into the military with themselves. Yeah. If you don't feel like you have much to die for, you're not going to try that hard. Right. And I hate war, but I think that I hate war, but I just think that it's becoming... We're losing something. I don't think a country can survive without strong men.
Well, I think it's also like the over-validation of feelings too, because our society today is feelings run, and so I think that when it comes, especially with men, I think this affects men more than anything, because men are not they don't do feelings first like that. They do logic first. It's not that they can't have feelings. Obviously, you're a human being, you have feelings, but it's interesting because it's like, no, it's backwards. You're supposed to have logic first, and the feelings come. Feelings come after that, and so we have a reverse here where feelings with men are oddly over-validated. It's kind of like it's a very strange kind of off-balance thing, and that just leads to whining. It does. It leads to you just whining, complaining, excuses, no accountability, no responsibility, none of that at all. Just it's happening to me, like Godfrey. It's all happening to me. It's happening to us. It's like nails on a chalkboard with this. Yeah. Conversation when it comes to oppression, like to me, it is like nails on a chalkboard. Like, what are you talking about? That is not happening to you. Yeah. That's not happening to the majority of black people on a daily basis. But you would think it is the way we're talking. You would think that every day this is happening. But I'm telling you guys, I don't buy it. And anybody comes in the comments, I'm like, oh no, it doesn't happen. It happened to me last week. Anecdotal. I'm talking about for sure across the no. I don't think so.
I mean, the state of our country should really tell you how out of balance we are. I mean, I never really thought about like what's our biology and things like that before. Until one day I was watching I know it's crazy, but I was watching Cesar Millan, you know, the dog whisperer, and you know how he would go in and real quick and fix a dog in 5 seconds. A dog that's been a nightmare for 5 years,
Right.
and he'd go right in and then start. And they just follow him and do everything he said. And he would always say the same thing, and he was just like, dogs have a the problem with your dog and with most American dogs, he was saying, because he was here, he says that they use their eyes first and they're supposed to use their nose.
Yes, yeah.
He said if your dog is not using their nose, that means that they are off balance and they're being humanized. And so it made me think about that a lot, of how we might be also.
We are.
Women are feelings and nurturing, and we are not logic.
Yeah.
But we are feelings and nurturing, and we aren't using those.
I always feel like in order to break up or damage or destroy a society, you gotta start with those men. You gotta break down men first, because I believe in patriarchy. I'm all about the patriarchy, right? But when you release the patriarchy, right, you get rid of that. You damage men. The whole idea of them, men are bad, men are horrible, right? So if you do that, that is kind of the downfall of society, which really are.
There's this thing of always, I don't know why every black person that is famous always has to talk about race. Always. Like, always. I don't understand how.
I wonder if I can find it Taharji. Go ahead.
That Taharji thing.
Let me see if I can find that real quick. But she's talking about, hold on, let me try to find it real quick. Yeah, but Taharji P. Hansen talked about black people and then why we laugh, and when we laugh, we kind of run around. Y'all.
Know why black people run away when we laugh? Because we weren't allowed to laugh on those plantations. This is stuff that lives in us, y'all. This ain't nothing new, y'all. That's why y'all going, oh, what? Yeah, it lives in us. That doesn't just go away, like she said. And if we don't start unpacking it seriously, it will also be the end of us.
So when I heard that, I was just like, Taharji girl, what are you talking about? Did you see the insanity? You see how we're reaching? You see the reach that now black people are trying to do now? We're now saying that because black people, laugh and run at the same time and just, that's because of slavery. She associated that with slavery.
And that's what I think they just,
I
feel like these celebrities just say that because they think if they're heard, if it goes viral, they'll get access to a lot of these studio heads and things like that. And
could you imagine saying that out loud? And then Taharji says in the video, I know you guys are all looking at me like, what? Yeah, they're looking at you like, what, Taharji? Because it's ridiculous. And they know it's ridiculous. But
it's so sick of this 1984 brainwashing.
Yeah, it is.
It just keeps happening every day with everybody's feelings and problems. Yeah. And everybody's supposed to say 2 + 2 is 5.
This is all Orwellian.
Yeah.
And if you don't see it, you have to be blind. She actually said that out loud. This oppression thing is getting really ridiculous. I don't know what else are they going to do?
I guess it's just kind of annoying because I don't understand how you can call yourself a queen and a king and at the same time say that, you're oppressed in the, I don't get it. You can't be both.
How?
It's this mental gymnastics that everybody's trying to do. And, you aren't a slave and all the white people that are here, they're not slave owners. We are so far away from that generation of people. We just are.
Yeah.
And I think people it's amazing. I guess it's amazing to me that they can actually make something that was so long ago, make it seem like it happened 10 years ago in the heads of many people.
Because if you just landed on this earth, if you're just somebody who just landed on this earth out of nowhere from another planet, and they placed you in America, you would think that slavery happened 5 days ago. You would think that.
It's bizarre.
It is so bizarre to us. Someone actually said in our comments, it's a black guy, he said, these two ladies know damn well black people are victims.
Because you're not successful doesn't mean you're a victim.
What?
You aren't if you aren't successful, it's because you aren't putting in the work to be successful.
Man.
The problem is the successful people are walking around saying it.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Do you remember we had that one guy in the comments that was like, he was like a realtor, right? And he did well for himself, right? He's doing well. And he was trying to explain to me why he's oppressed in his realty firm, his firm. He goes on and talks about how, you know, with the schools he went to, all the opportunities he's had, he's raised in a home with a mother and father. He's offering this information, right? He said, and then he says it in his comment, and still I'm even oppressed in my business. What is it going to actually take for you not to be one if you were able to do all of that?
It's because I know. It's because we've been given excuse.
Yeah.
As long as we keep saying that we're oppressed and things like that, then we just think everybody's going to believe. And most people will give black people what they want because they fear the whole racist thing coming up. The only reason Mark Curry got away with what he said is because he mentioned race.
Yes.
And now the hotel didn't want to deal with the backlash.
Right. But yeah, you guys, can we just cut it out with the oppression thing? I mean, can we just get over this oppression thing? It's not a thing. All right? It's just not a thing. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what any black person says. It's not a thing. Be honest with yourself. You're not oppressed. Okay, you guys, let us know what you think. Leave some comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this conversation. And that's it. We will see you guys in the next video. Bye.